But I think it's probably no coincidence that at this point in time that the Golden Boot was instituted. So you're getting all this cross-hemisphere pollination, and suddenly we get this new award for crowning the world's best player. And for this section of the episode, I really want to shout out Richard de la Riviere, who this came from his book, Rugby League: A Critical History. He gave like a really detailed history of the Golden Boot Award. That was just amazing. It was so well done and such a good read. So I'd recommend that book definitely for anyone wanting to learn a bit more about English rugby league history. So it's Rugby League: A Critical History. It covers the years 1980 through to 2013.
I remember when the award was revered and then suddenly it just became Mickey Mouse overnight.
Yeah, and we'll touch on all of that. But it's kind of funny because it's almost on Immortals grounds, like the dubious nature of the award starting, and, you know, and then with the way the winners were announced and the controversy that the award would eventually engender, like it didn't even get that chance to overcome those dubious origins like the Immortals did.
Yeah.
So it was an innovation by a bloke called Harry Edgar, who was the editor of Open Rugby.
Great mag.
And so he'd seen the Golden Shoe, which was an award given to the European Soccer Player of the Year, sponsored by Adidas. And he thought, well, that'd be great to get for rugby league. So he got Adidas involved in coming up with this award. So it was called the Golden Boot. And this is the first point of order I have is like, even the name kind of sucks. Like, it sounds like a soccer award. Like, it's no wonder Brett Kenny, when he won it, thought it was an award for goal kickers.
Yeah, it's not that rugby league specific, is it?
No. So I guess everyone got the hang of it pretty quickly, but I think right from the outset there's some branding issues there.
I don't know if you can bash Edgar and Adidas too much for Brett Kenny misunderstanding something. But marketing job.
So Kenny was the second winner, so it went to Wally Lewis first for the 1984 season. So the first award was handed out mid-1985, but that was to cover, you know, the last year. And so Kenny was the next winner. And so even though Wally Lewis got his award in 85, it's called, you know, the 84 Golden Boot goes to Wally Lewis, 85 to Brett Kenny, etc. So just in case there's any confusion.
Let me ask you this, though. Think back to the problems of picking an Australian side from Australia, Queensland and the bush. Then you've got to throw in Northern England for the Golden Boot as well. How could you keep your eye on all of that?
Well, this is where it starts to get Mickey Mouse already. And this is where the way the award was given out starts to look really dubious. So Harry Edgar said he was really keen to get another country involved with the Golden Boot, and he'd love to see it promoted in France. But he found that Adidas in France was a no-go because they were committed to rugby union and they wouldn't touch rugby league in France. So he thought, well, Adidas New Zealand, therefore we need a New Zealand winner. So, you know, after Kenny, the next Golden Boot winner was Hugh McGann. Harry Edgar says that everyone in Australia just thought it was Sterling's turn because Lewis and Kenny had it. But, well, yeah, it was Sterling's turn because he was on a 2-year run of winning just about every award on offer and, you know, having multiple Rugby League Week perfect games, winning the 86 Clive Churchill, Rothmans, Dally M's, and, you know, just playing at the very height of football. You know, that's, I think, why it was his turn. But Edgar was saying, well, no, Hugh McGann was, you know, he was just the best player that year. So in the end, Peter Sterling got the award as well. It was a shared Golden Boot that year.
So did that mean that they gave it to McGann and then backtracked and said, sorry, it's a shared one? Or did they work it out beforehand?
They worked it out beforehand.
Oh, thank God.
But it led to this tension between the two countries because there was a perceived arrogance from the Australian side that, you know, they just assumed that the award should always be given to an Australian.
But what's Adidas thinking as a company? They're a global brand. Why would they want to rig an award with their name on it? Like,
yeah, well, and I don't know the logistics of it, but apparently they needed to promote the award in New Zealand, therefore you needed a New Zealand winner. So,
well, you got that huge market of 2 million people over there. You got to capitalise on it.
And so already you're getting this controversy and you're getting the luster removed from the award somewhat. So the next year's winner was Ellery Hanley, And he got given his award at a pitchside presentation. He was playing for Wests in the Sydney comp at the time. He had to drive up to Newcastle to be presented with the award on the side of the field. So already some of the pomp and glamour had gone out of the award. Adidas was starting to lose interest, probably not helped by the fact that Ellery Hanley accepted his award dressed entirely in Puma gear.
Oh, it's hysterical.
And so in 1991, it was to be Gary Schofield's award. Again, there's all Australians complaining that it should have gone to an Australian player. I think with Schofield, the way he was playing at that time and the way Great Britain were taking it to the Aussies, I think in this circumstance, maybe those Australian complaints aren't as warranted as they had been in the past.
It is arrogance, the fact they always think that we're the best, because they wouldn't have been looking at any other comp.
No.
We covered it last week, how good Schofield was.
Yeah, exactly. But so Schofield never actually got that award because by this stage, Adidas were kind of more on board with the idea of it being an Australian thing. And so they ended up pulling their sponsorship. And, so Harry Edgar and Open Rugby just walked away from the award and it, stopped being handed out. Which, it's just another piece of evidence for your chief awards for the game should be owned by the game, not like a media company or a shoe brand. It's just
a bloke.
Yeah. The award shouldn't be at risk of going under because, someone wants to stop funding it or a newspaper goes broke or, whatever else it might be.
I challenge you on that. What's more rugby league than the awards being at risk of going under with everything else?
It is very rugby league. I can't deny that. And then so it was revived at the end of the 90s and Schofield was later given his award retroactively. And then throughout the 2000s, you're getting those same issues. So Andy Farrell got it one year and there was a furor from Australians saying, well, he's not playing the best comp. How can he be judged the best player?
I think that's the exact time it moved to Anaheim and become Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. I think by that point, there is a very legitimate argument that you needed to be playing in the NRL to truly be considered the best player in the world. If we're going to go back to the NBL comparison, the best player needs to be playing in the NBA.
Yeah. Against Chris Mullin.
Yeah. I mean, Andy Farrell was a class player who had a long, decorated career, so I'm not saying that was a farcical award. I understand the arguments against him getting it. Where it became farcical was the award just suddenly becoming the award for best international player of the year.
Just changing the parameters.
Yeah. So Tommy Makinson from England won it a couple of years ago, and there was a predictable outcry that he'd won it. And then there was this smug reaction from certain online types who were just like, look, they don't understand that it's actually for international performances, so this outcry is ridiculous. And it's like, well, they changed the grounds of the Pulitzer Prize to reward sales in adult contemporary. People are going to be confused and the award's going to, it's not going to make sense anymore. And I think when you do that to an award like the Golden Boot, it doesn't make sense. And people associate it with rewarding the best player in the game that year. And now it doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, stupid. If you're going to do that, just change it to something else.
Yeah.
Platinum Boot.
Yeah. But so that's the current state of the Golden Boot. So I think it needs to go back to the old ways, personally.
I think there's been too much water under the bridge for the Golden Boot. I think start again.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
It's a shame, though, because, I remember when Stacey Jones won it, it was cool.
Yeah. But anyway, we've gone way into the future. Let's go back to the 80s and the English domestic game.